Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to review the Max Edgerunner. You get that from Prestige 5, rank 100 if you didn't know already. Also, I grinded one Prestige, decided it was boring, and then went ahead and bought the rest of the XP. I did this mainly because time is more important than money, and I'm really not going to waste my time grinding for this thing when I could have it now. So do what you want with your time and money, but that's around 2 million XP that you need to grind. And using a very efficient XP grind, it would take around 30 or so hours of straight grinding. Or like 40 hours, but it's going to take a very long time. So let's get right into it. First, we're going to start off with the customization of our Edgerunners. Agent 48, who you may know as my editor, decided to go for an Arctic style Edgerunner. Basically, it looks like it's from the Arctic with the blue, and the fuel canisters on the back are orange. But you can't actually change the color of the fuel canisters at the max level. I think the only way you can change is by upgrading or degrading your actual Edgerunner. So this is what he has. He even has the snow tires there. But what I did was I made mine look like a taxi. It has the orange fuel canisters on top, but what it shoots out is pretty interesting. If you notice here, whenever I try to boost, it shoots out green. And that's supposed to look like toxic waste coming out of there. So I think it looks really cool. And what Agent did is he also made his boost shoot out something interesting. While mine shoots out green, his shoots out blue. So that's supposed to match with his Arctic theme, and I think they both look really nice. If you have any good ideas, then just post in the comments and I'll try it out. Now about the handling of this thing, it's not exactly great. Whenever you try to go over rough terrain, even something as smooth as the airport roads, then your vehicle will probably fly into the air, as you can see right here. And this doesn't happen with other vehicles because you can modify their suspension, but unfortunately it happens with this vehicle quite a bit. And also whenever you try to take some turns, it's going to be hard to drift because this vehicle likes to drift even if you don't press shift. So the handling on this thing isn't that great, but it could be worse. Next we're going to do a race between the Max Edgerunner, the first Edgerunner, and the Nero, and we all have supercharged engines. As you can see, we easily beat the lowest Edgerunner in acceleration and in top speed, but the Nero eventually beats us in top speed, and he is pretty far behind. So now that we have all the statistics out of the way, we can talk about the explosive harpoon launcher on top. This comes at the max prestige only, and it sort of aims like the Knight Rider and the Cobra turret, where you have a crosshair that follows around your cursor, except it's more like the Knight Riders because it follows it around pretty slowly instead of instantly with the Cobra. One thing that you may notice is that being an explosive projectile, it'll have bullet drop as well as travel time. So you'll have to adjust for the two of them, both in range and in the travel time it takes for the bullet to actually get there. So try to pre-aim a bit and try to overshoot it a little bit. This thing is best at shooting at ground targets. If you hit them anywhere near the center of the explosion, they take 35, but anywhere at the edge of the explosion, then there's going to be damage drop off. The cannon shoots at a rate of 75 rounds per minute. If you want to convert it to DPS, then this is going to do around 44 damage per second. And this is really good because against vehicles, that means it does 88 damage per second. And since it's area of effect explosion, then you can shoot out people who are aiming drive-by weapons. So this is going to be really good at taking out vehicles, especially with the fact that it can take out tires in a single hit. This turret has two downsides. One downside is that it struggles to hit any target that's at a high angle, meaning that it's going to have trouble taking down aircraft, and another is that the turn speed of the turret isn't that great. It's about the speed of the Knight Riders, maybe a little faster. One downside to this projectile base is that it may ricochet off of the ground, meaning that you're going to miss quite a few shots where they ricochet off the ground instead of exploding on contact, and you can see it right here. There are currently a few minor bugs with this thing. One of them is that if you take out your weapon and put it away while inside, then your crosshair will actually disappear, but your cursor will remain. So it'll be hard to tell where exactly you're shooting at without looking at the harpoon launcher. Now for the combat tests, I'm going to use the drive-by weapons as little as possible and mainly stick with the harpoon launcher. Drive-by weapons are just too OP in this vehicle. As you can see, it had little to no trouble taking out a ground target. But when that target has a stinger, everything changes. Immediately, the tires are popped and he's able to get some good shots off, while I'm not able to hit him very easily. By the time my tires are repaired, he's already done quite a bit of damage to this vehicle. If I had been actually using my drive-by weapons, I could have won it, but without it, the Edgerunner loses. But if you do the invulnerable tires glitch, then you're going to be able to take him out very easily, because you don't have to worry about drifting in any weird directions. Like I said earlier, this thing struggles to hit air targets, mostly because you can't really aim high and because it's projectile based. So what you want to do is you want to get either an AR, such as the M4 or the AK, or you want to get a Stinger to use with this, because then you're going to be able to take out vehicles with a lot more ease. Of course, the alternative is just to outrun the Cobra, because that thing isn't exactly the fastest. One really great thing about this is that it's able to destroy vehicles in gas station faster than they're able to repair. And that means that you're able to take out anything with this vehicle. So if you wanted to add some DPS, you could actually also shoot at the tires of that vehicle, but in actuality they can't even shoot back because you're dealing explosion damage. So this is a great vehicle for taking out stuff at gas station. Let's test this thing against the Knight Rider. As you can see, he gets some pretty easy shots, but I get one hit on him, all his tires are gone. If he had invulnerable tires glitch, it might have been a little harder, but this thing flips his vehicle so easily that this thing wins. This is definitely better than the Knight Rider for taking out ground targets. Against the Hyperglider, it's extremely boring because the Hyperglider can't hit this thing and this thing can't hit the Hyperglider. The only time you're going to win is if the Hyperglider messes up, so I've saved you all the time. The dirt bike is easily able to win against this thing, but if I had a Stinger, the tables may have turned against him. Also, this thing is able to just sit infinitely in gas stations, so you can just make it a draw instead of having to fight him. As you can see here, I don't have to get out of the vehicle. Explosions are laggy at high speed, so this is the best way to take out an Edgerunner, just by staying at top speed in a Nero. As you can see, he's easily able to take out this vehicle. If you want to take on a tank, I see one of two options, and both times you have to play smart. One option is just staying near a gas station and going to repair when you take damage, and of course you're going to need invulnerable tires before this, so if you don't do that, then what you can do is you can just grapple away once you've taken critical damage and just respawn your Edgerunner. You can't really respawn tanks, and if he tries to go for a repair, all you have to do is to start spamming him with this turret, and he'll start to take damage, and then he'll eventually be destroyed. And so I'll just skip ahead to show you how it ends. So for my conclusion, I think this is the best new ground vehicle. This is like a mini tank which is respawnable with a turret that's amazing, but the HP is not exactly impressive and it should be buffed to something like 500 or 600. The handling and top speed are acceptable, and you can use drive-by, which is even more OP. You should use invulnerable tires when using this vehicle because otherwise you're going to be destroyed easily, and it struggles against aircraft. It flips cars, people can't even shoot back or they're blown up. And there are many defensive counters against the Edgerunner, but the only offensive counters are the A10 and the dirt bike. This is a cool vehicle which you definitely need to get. I'm going to end off with some PvP clips with this vehicle, so enjoy. This thing actually does a great job of countering the invis glitch, if you know what it is.